Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Chara zor-el here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 19 of What If Izuku Was a Stand User. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying, yes, I know it's episode 19 and the next episode will be 20, but we have a whole lot more in store coming your way, so sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. With that out of the way, we begin. When we last left off, Izuku had received the tragic news that a villain in Hosu City killed his close friend, Tenya Ida. The discovery of his passing, along with the death of the pro-hero native, came to fruition late that night as the city recovered from a Nomu attack around the same time. In the aftermath, the pro-hero manual was so riddled with shame that he closed down his hero agency. Principal Nezu ordered the Hero Course internship programs to end 3 days earlier than scheduled, and for classes to be cancelled the following day to give everyone a chance to recuperate from the news. During the day off, UA staff had a meeting with the chief of police, Tsukauchi, to go over what they knew about Ida's murder and how to move forward from this. However, 4 days before this meeting, Shigaraki and Kurogiri were at their hideout, reading the newspaper about the latest heroes who fell victim to Stain's wrath. A knock was heard from the door as the criminal broker Giren announced his arrival. "Hey, Shigaraki, Kuro, my two favorite work associates. How the heck are you two?" The pro-villains turned their heads to the man as he lit his cigarette with his signature gun lighter. "Is your friend with you?" Tomura asked, acting unusually direct. Shigaraki was very eager to gather recruits, as he was aching to get back into the action. "Straight to the point, huh? Alright, I can understand. Well, yeah, the man of the hour is here. Non-existent ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Akira Otoishi, in the flesh." Giren stepped aside as the red-hot chili pepper stand wielder came into the bar and looked around the room. Dang, nice place. This could be a hell of a spot to do some live music at. If you're looking for a venue to play at, look somewhere else. Shigaraki smirked. This is a hideout, and I plan on keeping it as such. Shigaraki, please watch your attitude. Kurogiri consoled as Otoishi took notice of the gas figure behind the bar. We need recruits, and if what Giren told us about this man is true, he could be a great asset to our cause. Shigaraki composed himself as Otoishi leaned into Giren to quietly ask him something. Hey, what's up with that bartender guy? Is he a stand user or something? Otoishi murmured. Just saying, aside from a few familiar faces back in Morio, I ain't used to seeing weird stuff like this. He's giving off some major stand vibes, man. I can assure you I do not have a stand, nor does Shigaraki. We possess quirks. Kurogiri answered, who overheard Otoishi's words. We've heard from Giren about this stand ability you possess, Mr. Otoishi, which is why we request your services to resolve an issue we have. If you help us, we will make it worth your while. Akira smirked in curiosity at Kurogiri's proposal as he approached the bar and sat on one of the bar stools, with Giren sitting beside him. Now, before we begin, can I get you anything to drink, sir? Kurogiri offered. The rock star cracked a grin at the request. Tequila old-fashioned, top it with beer and sprinkle in some chili. The three villains blankly stared at Otoishi for several seconds over the odd drink request. Just give me a beer, none of that light crap. The Warp Gate villain reached under the counter and gave the stand user his beer, as he popped the cap off his drink using his stand's fingers. So, you two need my services, huh? All right. What do you need of me? Akira took a swing of beer as Shigaraki showed the man a photo of Izuku Midoriya from the sports festival. I want you to kill this brat. Otoishi almost choked on his beer as he tried to compose himself for the request Shigaraki asked of him. What? You want me to freaking murder someone? We're just gonna go from 0 to 62 seconds like that, huh? Christ, I came here expecting something less psychotic, like stealing cars or something, but you want me to kill a teenager? Do I look like an assassin for hire to you? With the way Giren explained your little backstory several weeks ago, yeah, we believe you are. Shigaraki clarified. He told us the story of how you killed 5 cops years ago without breaking a sweat. Someone with a talent like yours would make for a fine addition to our party. The room was silent for several seconds as Otoishi thought about the situation, thinking that this conversation was not what he had expected. What the hell did you drag me into, man? You brought me here to work with child killers or something? Akira muttered to Girin. Oh, come on. You're making these guys sound like psychotic animals. I told you before we got here, these guys aren't one-trick homicidal maniacs. They're serious. Big-timers in the making that can hook you up with the opportunity of a lifetime. If you roll with them. Otoishi took 6 seconds to think about everything going on here and began to think that this Shigaraki guy wasn't the best guy to work with. Okay, just for context's sake, what exactly did you tell these guys about me? The stand user pondered. Girin took a moment to puff on his cigarette and remember what he said to Shigaraki a few weeks back. I told him how we met, I told him about your red hot chili pepper stand and what stands are and what they do. I brought up that thing you mentioned where stands can only be seen by other stand users. And the story where you killed those cops. Shigaraki here was interested in recruiting you for his posse because of that. A few phone calls later, and here we are. Otoishi thought to himself some more to process what was going on. He then summoned his stand to take the photo Shigaraki showed him earlier as he looked at the boy in the photo. So that's why you wanted me to check if this kid was a stand user during the festival. I'm guessing you guys were doing some criminal shit. This kid swooped in, used his stand to ruin your plans, and now you want me to dispose of him to make your lives easier. Heh, you're more observant than you look. Well, yeah, this brat ruined my plan to kill All Might, so I want him out of the picture. Otoishi's eyes widened in fear, as if he was thinking, wait, these guys tried to kill All Might? The All Might? What are these guys, terrorists or something? So what do you say, Akira Otoishi? Will you join the League of Villains? It took just 5 seconds for Akira to respond. Girin, I'm gonna be real with you, man. I don't think this is gonna work out. Every head in the room turned to Akira the second he said that. Look, years back when I first met you, I'll admit, I was a major piece of shit. I was given his stand ability by this guy that wanted my help with his terminally messed up father. Instead of helping him, I killed the bastard and took his stand arrow, hoping to either make you a stand user or sell the arrow for a high price. When I couldn't find you, I said screw and decided to use my new power to steal hundreds of thousands of yen worth of goods. Jewelry, expensive guitars, the works. And I did all of that because at the time, I was an unstoppable, power-hungry son of a bitch. And I loved it. Akira couldn't tell, but Shigaraki was slowly getting pissed off at his words, as he knew where he was going with this. But a month or so after we parted ways, I came across these other stand users who put a stop to me and locked me up for my crimes. One of the bastards even promised me that if I ever went back to my criminal ways, he would come for me. After I left jail, I turned a new leaf. Or, well, I'm trying to. It's a slow process, but I'm trying. I mean, I'll still steal stuff here and there, just not as often as I used to. However, I swore to myself that I would never use my stand to take another life again. So no, I won't kill this kid for you guys. You want to talk heist and stealing? That's more up my alley. But I'm drawing the line at murder. I'm sorry. Silence filled the room as Akira took another sip of beer. Girin looked at the rockstar like he was both unhappy and disappointed. Shigaraki, however, began scratching his neck in anger. You know, there's a lot of things in this world that piss me off, Shigaraki growled. This world of heroes we live in, the symbol of peace, All Might. But something that really gets under my skin is people like you. Akira raised an eyebrow at the blue-haired villain. You were a killer, a thief, someone with a power that's alien to this world that could make you go toe-to-toe against the strongest heroes this society has to throw at you. You could stand up for people like me who were tossed aside by this world and left to rot like trash. But you had one little mishap. Hit the game over screen and you decided to change your ways because of some foolish self-driven pride in becoming a better person? You're pathetic. Leave. now.
Hold on, Shigaraki. Let's not give up this early. Mr. Otoishi, I'm sure we could negotiate an arrangement that would suit you.
The electric stand user was taken by surprise by that out-of-nowhere voice as he looked around the room and asked aloud who said that. Master, Shigaraki muttered, turning to face the television in the room. Master? Akira parroted in confusion. Kurogiri explained that the voice he heard was a man who goes by the surname All for One, who communicates through the television in the bar.
I apologize for Tomura's behavior, Mr. Otoishi. Shigaraki is quick to anger and has trouble seeing things outside the box. I can understand if you're a man who doesn't wish to get your hands bloody. Perhaps we could use your talents for other areas aside from assassinations. Tell me, you mentioned something earlier about a stand arrow that can give people the same power you possess. What else do you know about this arrow, and where do you get one?
The arrow? Akira parroted. Well, in all honesty, I don't know too much about the arrow itself. All I know is that it gives people stand abilities if you get stabbed with it. Well, actually, no, it's not that simple. For some reason I never figured out, these arrows in some bizarre way have a mind of their own that seek out certain people to make stand users. These specific people are supposedly the chosen ones the arrow deems worthy for being turned into stand users. So you can't just stab random people with it and make an army. If the arrow stabs someone who isn't worthy, it kills the person instantly. A several-second pause filled the space as everyone processed what Akira spoke.
I see.
All for One analyzed.
And where can I get one of these arrows?
Honestly, I can't help you out with that mystery, man, Akira answered. I haven't heard a peep about those arrows since I was thrown into the slammer. The arrow I had before was confiscated by this group called the Speedwagon Foundation. They probably have it locked up in a vault somewhere. Wait, the Speedwagon Foundation? The Speedwagon Foundation has this arrow you speak of? The voice that said that came through the television. It was different from All for One's. It sounded a tad more elderly, but different enough for Akira to notice it was someone else. Wait, who the heck was that? Wait, you know about the Speedwagon Foundation? Akira asked as he approached the blank television. I'm a doctor who works with All for One. That's all you need to know about me, and yes, I do know about the Speedwagon Foundation. They're a well-respected medical organization responsible for pharmaceutical breakthroughs that have changed the world of medical science and research.
Is that right? Do you know where they're located, Doctor?
All for One asked the assistant. Their main locations are in the United States, Dallas and Washington, D.C. to be exact. However, I know for a fact that there are two similar branches here in Japan, one located in Tokyo and the other in the city of Meguro.
Tokyo and Meguro.
All for One was silent for a moment before the criminal mastermind shared his thoughts.
Doctor, I have a request for you. I want you to do some investigative work in the two Japanese branches of this Speedwagon group, and find out anything you can about this stand arrow. That shouldn't be a problem, yes?
Well, it'll be difficult, but I'll do my best, the doctor responded. Speedwagon is known for keeping quiet when it comes to their practices, but with my resources and reputation, I should find something to go on.
Excellent.
All for One diverted his attention back to Shigaraki and those in the hideout.
Shigaraki, I have a mission for you, one that Mr. Otoishi here can help us with. I'm thinking we should pay the kind souls of the Speedwagon Foundation a visit, find this arrow Mr. Otoishi told us about, and take it for ourselves.
The lone stand user in the room felt a chill up his spine at what he just heard. Wait, hold on. Are you talking about a heist? A heist on the Speedwagon Foundation? Akira asked. In the back of his mind, Akira thought these guys were nuts. I mean, pulling a heist on a group with stand users in their ranks? These guys were either crazy or had no idea what they were getting themselves into.
Of course, if I'm not mistaken, you did mention that heists and stealing were your strong suit compared to murder. If you'll help us, I'll make it worth your while and then some.
Make it worth my while? How? What can you guys give me?
A lot more than you realize. Tell me, Mr. Otoishi, do you have any dreams? A goal you wish to have in life? Every man who walks this earth wants something. Power, fame, money, women, destruction, and chaos.
Shigaraki nodded at the destruction part.
What do you want?
It didn't take the man long to answer that question as he cracked a light grin and held his guitar like he was about to play it. I want to be a famous musician. I want to be the next big thing in rock and roll, like Jimi Hendrix and Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin used to be. Akira followed up by rocking out on his guitar for about 10 seconds as everyone's attention was brought to Otoishi's brief performance. As you can see, I got the skills, but I need my big break. That one gig that'll get me recognized by a record company, you know? I've been playing at countless dozens of venues and music bars for years. I even did a festival at one point, but I'm still not in the big leagues yet. I want that one big gig that'll put me on the map, man. That's what I want.
So you wish to be a big-name rock star, playing in arenas with thousands of people, multi-million yen record deals, global tours, the works?
The rock star nodded at All for One's words, even though he probably couldn't see him do so through the television.
Okay, that shouldn't be too hard for me to arrange.
Wait, for real? You can hook me up with a big-time gig? Seriously? He can, Kurogiri stated. All for One may work in the shadows, but he's one of the most influential and powerful men in all of Japan, with a vast number of strong connections. He can make anyone become whatever he wishes them to be. You're serious? Oh, man!
Yes, I'm serious. So, Mr. Otoishi, here's my proposal.
All for One bargained.
Help us acquire the stand arrow and assist us with this stand-using UA child, and I will grant you the opportunity at being the rock legend you dreamed of becoming. What do you say?
This was big. These men were contemplating a heist on the Speedwagon Foundation for the stand arrow, and if he does what they ask, he would be given a once-in-a-lifetime chance at his dream. It felt like he was making a literal deal with the devil. However, Akira wasn't dumb. As much as he wanted this, he had a strong feeling he'd be forced into a situation where he'd be forced to kill again, breaking his strict no more killing rule. He also knew this heist would have a major drawback whether or not they find the arrow. He thought about the proposal for roughly 30 seconds, wondering if the negatives of this outweighed the positives. Eventually, he made his decision. Oh, man, this is... all right, I'll help you guys out. However, I need to let you guys know a few things right now. What is it now? Shigaraki growled. Well, for starters, if we're gonna pull off a heist of this magnitude, we're gonna need a much bigger squad than this, Otoishi answered. I mean, aside from Girin, I don't know what quirks you guys got, but even if you two got good powers, it won't matter. We need more people to pull off something of this scope. I was thinking the same thing, Girin chimed in. In fact, that was actually one of the things I wanted to speak to you about, Shigaraki. The hero killer that's been making the rounds lately has been inspiring a lot of up-and-coming villains to rise up around the country. My contacts know a good few of them who are looking for the chance to make a name for themselves. I can get on the phone with them and bring him here to try out for the League of Villains, since it sounds like we'll be hitting 2 places at once. I'll say 2 groups of 4 or 5 people should be more than enough. The phone from behind the bar began to ring as Kurogiri picked it up to answer who was calling. Akira here can lead one of the teams while you can lead the other, Shigaraki. You can even bring along that truck-sized Nomu you saved from your USJ attack a month ago. Actually about that. Everyone's heads in the room turned to Akira as he had something to add. Aside from this manpower issue, there's something else. Remember that story earlier about how I was defeated and thrown in jail? Ever since that happened, I've been put on a watch list by the Speedwagon Foundation. If they find out I'm pulling off a heist on him, or anything this crazy with my stand power, well, the guy who put me in jail, Jotaro Kujo, it's guaranteed he's going to come after us if we do this, whether or not we find the stand arrow. Jotaro Kujo? Who's that? He's some kind of bounty hunter or something? Girin asked as Kurogiri hung up the phone from behind the bar. No, not a bounty hunter. He's more like a private investigator that tracks down less than savory stand users and deals with them. I've never faced him in a one-on-one fight, but I know he's got a very powerful stand ability that lets him stop time. I think my Red Hot Chili Pepper can match him in speed, but that time stop ability will make him a problem.
Yeah, well, I've got a Nomu that's been engineered to kill All Might. If this Jotaro fool comes for us, I'll stick my Nomu on him and watch it tear him to shreds.
Ha! Also, if you're worried about being recognized, just wear a ski mask or something to hide your identity, Giren added. As long as they don't make you out, you'll be fine. Shigaraki looked back down at his glass as he remembered another recently added League of Villains member that could help with the heist.
Master, what about that guy with the metal manipulating quirk? I want him on the heist.
You're talking about Wolfram, yes?
The mastermind asked.
I've assigned him and his followers to another mission of utmost importance. I'm afraid he's too preoccupied to assist you at this time.
Following a disappointed grunt by Shigaraki, the game plan was set. All for One instructed the doctor to begin finding any information he could on the Tokyo and Maguro branches of the Speedwagon Foundation. If he found out anything about the arrow, the plan could move on. The criminal leader instructed Kurogiri and Shigaraki to plan out the heist if the doctor finds a lead.
Understood. We will not let you down, sir,
Kurogiri responded. Giren and Akira left the bar as the duo prepared themselves for the big heist that was in progress.
Oh, and Mr. Otoishi.
The stand user turned around to face the TV.
We will be in touch. Welcome to the League of Villains.
The purple-haired man thanked the mastermind before leaving the hideout with Giren as the door shut behind them.
There's something suspicious about that Akira guy. I don't like him.
Shigaraki, I told you already. You must learn to give people a chance,
Kurogiri insisted.
He's agreed to assist us with our plans. We must make the best of him.
Shigaraki quietly refuted the gas villain's words as he took a drink of his alcohol.
If you wish for someone more violent. During the discussion earlier, I've received a call from one of our contacts that the hero killer has been spotted in Hosu City. If you wish, I'll find him and invite him here to convince him to join the League, should you wish to.
Shigaraki dragged his finger around the rim of his whiskey glass for several seconds as he thought about the offer Kurogiri proposed.
Why not? We've got Akira on our roster. Might as well go for double and get the hero killer too.
Very well. I shall return when I have made contact with Stain.
After roughly 20 minutes, Kurogiri returned, bringing Stain to his hideout to convince him to join the League. But, just like in canon, both Shigaraki and Stain's principles didn't mix with one another, and the two couldn't form an alliance as they attempted to kill each other during the negotiation. After the blood-curdling villain left, Shigaraki was so fumingly angry, he decided to show the hero killer what it really means to be a scourge on the world of heroes. And so, 3 days later, when he knew Stain would be out in the night, he unleashed a Nomu attack on the city of Hosu, and plunged 6 blocks of city into 30 minutes of absolute chaos. And that was the night Ida's reckless desire for revenge against the hero killer cost him his life. The day after the Hero Course students' break from school, classes were again back in session. But this school day was a tense one. There was a heavy feeling of loss and angst in the air. Despite having a day off to get their spirits up, Class A lost a crucial piece of what made their class the group they were. Several students like Yayorozu, Ashido, and Uraraka didn't even want to go to school that day, as they feared they would break down into tears mid-class. Even a good few in Class B were depressed from the news after hearing what happened from Shiozaki and Tetsu, who found out from Kirishima during their internship together. Aizawa left the staff room with Present Mike, Midnight, and Vlad King after Principal Nezu scheduled another mandatory staff meeting before classes began to go over what to do going forward. The teachers knew today's classes would be rough, but they had to guide their students on the proper path and teach them how to deal with and overcome this type of tragedy. Before Aizawa broke off from the group, President Mike asked everyone if they'd want to hang out at a nice bar later that evening as a group to lift their spirits. Vlad and Midnight agreed to the idea, while Aizawa said he'd think about it and get back to them on the idea later. He eventually decided to go with them. Shortly after, the Class A teacher reached the door to his classroom and stood by the door for 8 seconds, silently readying himself for the difficult start to the day's class. He took a deep breath, grabbed the door handle, and quietly told himself, "All right. You know what to tell these kids, Shota. Your students need you. Don't let them down again." Aizawa opened the door and glanced across the classroom. As expected, half the students were in their seats, with quiet, lost, and emotionless looks on their faces, with a few exceptions. He glanced over at Midoriya, who was in the process of being consoled by Mineta, Sato, Kirishima, and Shoji, as he still couldn't believe Ida was really gone. Behind him, Naoyorozu was sitting at her desk, wiping a handkerchief against her teary eye, with Jiro and Todoroki standing by her for support. Uraraka was the worst, though. She was standing by her desk in the back of the class, being group-hugged by Ashido, Hagakure, and Asui, as Ochako bawled her eyes out into Mina's shoulder and was having trouble breathing, like she was on the verge of a panic attack. All the while, the girls hugging her were tearing up at the loss of their class president. As soon as Aizawa took his first step into the room, everyone's eyes and heads turned to the teacher. "Everyone in your seats. Now." It took just over 11 seconds for everyone to sit at their desks as their teacher walked to his podium. The man took another glance around the class, even looking at Ida's now vacant desk with Uraraka sitting behind it, wiping a tissue across her red, teary eyes. With a heartfelt sigh, the Class A teacher began. "I'm sure that you've all heard the unfortunate news about Ida." A 4-second silence filled the class, with the only sound in the room coming from Uraraka in the back and her quiet weeping. "I understand that his passing has been hard on all of you. Trust me, I know. Back in my second year of UA, a close friend of mine lost his life to a villain during his hero internship. So I understand exactly how you're all feeling right now. But this is the reality of being a hero. And it's something you must all accept if you want to become pros." Aizawa wiped a hand against his face to compose himself as he continued. "The world is a dangerous place. Aside from the natural disasters we as heroes have to tend to, there are also villains out there who pose a threat to the safety of innocent civilians, along with yourselves and other heroes. The villain attack you all faced at the USJ should make you understand this. One wrong step can cost you, or someone else, their life. Ida's fate is an example of that. If that reality check is too much for you all to accept, you can pack your things and drop out of UA right now. With that said, I want to make one thing clear with you all right now." The students noticed Aizawa's tone switched to one of anger, which surprised and even slightly terrified some of the students. "I understand the feelings of grief you're all going through, but I also believe it's very likely some of you in this room have thought about revenge, so Ida doesn't die in vain. To those of you in this class that are feeling this way, this is your one and only warning. If anyone in this room even attempts to go after Ida's killer for revenge, I will have you expelled from UA immediately. As for the hero killer, several of the country's top heroes are currently doing a citywide sweep of Hosu as we speak. The pros will find the man responsible for Ida's death, and he will be brought to justice. From this point forward, I will do everything in my power to make sure that what happened to Ida will never happen to any of you as long as you're in my care. If anyone here needs counseling to help you through this, Hound Dog has agreed to sit down with each of you for therapy, should you request it." Aizawa exhaled as he felt relieved he got the heavy stuff out of the way. "Now then, there's another matter that has to be taken care of. Naoyorozu, The creation hero briefly jolted out of her distressed mood as her eyes went up to her sensei.
I apologize if this seems too soon, but since Ida was the class rep, we need someone to fill his spot. I won't force you to do this if you don't want it, but we need a new class president.
I understand, sir. Yaoyorozu trembled. And yes, I will take the role as class president. I won't let you down, sir.
Good. Aizawa nodded. We'll have another vote later today for who will take your assistant rep spot. For now, though, we need to talk about your upcoming finals. Since your internships ended earlier than expected, we need to make up for the experience you all lost. As such, we'll be intensifying your training from now up until your final exams next week. This final exam will cover everything you've all learned since the start of the school year, from your traditional school studies to your physical training. So I expect you all to take your education extra seriously for the next week. Aizawa finished up by aiming his remote control at the wall and pressing one of the remote buttons, revealing the students' costume briefcases from the wall. He told everyone to get dressed and head to Training Ground Gamma, where All Might was waiting for everyone. He explained that today's hero training would focus on showing All Might and the other students what everyone learned at their internships, and where they could improve their training for the finals coming up. Midoriya was confident with the current progress he was making with his stand ability. He learned the truth about his power from Josuke and the other stand users he met several days ago, even learning a few mobility techniques thanks to Kamui Woods, and overall seemed fairly confident he would do well on the exams. What he didn't know, however, was that his personal Jesus would very soon take on a whole new form, one more powerful than the one he had grown accustomed to since his first hero training exercise at the start of school. Midoriya was not prepared for the kind of stand power he would soon possess.
It's confirmed! We are getting Personal Jesus Act 3! Let's go! Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. I know this was a very sad episode at the very end, so thought I'd lighten your spirits up a little bit. Before you leave, we'd just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes, including a meme channel and My Hero Academia Abridged. Definitely check those out. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all of the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the participation and the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so goodbye and have a divine day.